In fact, the court has told Priya Kapur that she cannot dissipate the assets or the inheritance of Sunjay Kapur. You have been very strongly backing Karisma Kapoor and the children. What's been the reactions to this verdict from the court? How do you really look at this, ma'am? How are the kids looking at it?
I think it's one step closer to what we want to achieve, and especially for the kids, for mum, for all of us, it's been a very positive step. And like I've always said, justice will come out. The justice system in India will give us the justice we need. And this is all about a legacy that we want to hold on to. This is all about looking after the kids, looking after mum, looking after the other grandkids. So it was a very positive step for us. The family is feeling encouraged right now, which is a good thing.
Right. In fact, Mandhira, one of the things that everybody has been asking and talking about, and the court also really spoke about this, is there a possibility that the family can sort this out outside the court? But that's quite crossed that stage, hasn't it?
I wouldn't say it's crossed the stage. I think we're being told, we're going to sit down for mediation. I think that's another positive from the courts that have, if this comes through, nothing like it, obviously, because we need peace in the family. We need to move on. It's going to be a year that, this tragedy has happened. And I think we all need to move forward and just, we haven't even dealt with what has happened yet. And I think we just need to move forward and close this so we can actually, the family needs to still grieve. The family needs to move forward, which we've not been able to do. So it's a step in the right direction, even mediation, whatever we can do to move forward.
Right. Mandhira, a lot is being said in media, in the public space about what's happening in the court, the arguments from both the sides. Obviously, it's all in public domain. But tell us, how is the family going through this? At the end of the day, this is the death of a very dear family member. This is an inheritance which the family believes very strongly, the children believe very strongly, belongs to them as well. There's obviously the 30,000 crore inheritance that everybody keeps talking about, and so many details about that's emerging. But there are also family members, living beings who are part of this legal battle. Tell us, how is it at home at this point?
Firstly, it's not been easy. It's been, I think, primary concern is looking after my mother. His kids are obviously shattered. I think the whole family is still in shock with what happened, because I think losing my father 10 years ago and then, in June, and then 10 years later, losing our brother in June and, or his son, and very suddenly for us was not been easy. And I think the world needs to understand it's not about 30,000 crores and, all the money. It's about a legacy that we've grown up seeing built. Yeah. We've seen everything being built. So for us, it's more of the value of, a legacy once created cannot be recreated once it's lost. And this is our father's legacy, and we want to make sure it goes on for generations exactly how he wanted to. So it's not really about the money, how everyone thinks it is. It's about something that we've grown up with, we've seen built. It's a legacy we want to last forever.
I think that's a very, very important point. Legacy being one part of it. There are also children who have told the court that, listen, we've been loved by our father. We've been loved by our father, and we are worried that the documents are completely forged. Of course, that's something that's sub judice at this point. But it's not just about legacy. It's also about the family line. It's about belonging. It's about the father-children relationship at the heart of it as well.
I think it's for the kids, what they have lost is deeper than any of us would ever understand. You can see it in their eyes. You can see how they've changed. And I think it's a huge loss because they were very, very close. So I think seeing them, we can't bring my brother back. We can't bring their father back, but at least give them that place in this family to leave the legacy, give them the love that they had, look after them how we need to, how my brother would want us to. I think that for us is key. Look after my mom. Yes, obviously my sister, me and our kids and all that come in. But I think right now is the key is his kids, my mother, who are completely lost in a way that I can't explain to anyone. I can't explain to the world. because it's such a deep pain, you know.
That's true. Mandhira, tell us something. What made you take the stand that you have? Because many people were very surprised with the stand that you really took. The way you have gone ahead and you've spoken, what you've spoken, the way you have battled for the rights of Karisma Kapoor's children. Many people sat up, took note of what you were saying, of who you were firstly in the family, you know, and the way you came out and made the stand that you did. So what made you take that stand and why have you done that?
So I'm the youngest out of three, and my father once wrote me a letter telling me to make sure I look after him or mom, whoever was left, and I've taken that very seriously. I think I'm like and he told me once, he's like, you are like the youngest son. So I've taken the role of my brother or the son of the family. We've always been brought up to look after mom. Our family's been a very close-knit family. So we don't know better, or I don't know better than to step in, make sure mom's secure. And for my father, I would do this if anything happened, and I will do this. I will get the legacy back. I will make sure my mother is still the queen that dad put on a pedestal. I will make sure she's put on the pedestal. And I'm going to fight for this family. I don't think the hard work that we've done for so long deserves to be taken from us when, you know, mom's alive, the kid, their kids, there's so much involved. And you know, honestly, more than anything, I can't stress enough that the legacy that dad built with such pride, so much hard work where we wouldn't see him for days. It's not that I can just calmly give this up and be like, okay with letting it go. So I think for me, I'm not a shy person, as you all know. I do stand up for my rights. And I think honestly, every woman should. I don't think because we're girls or, you know, we're no less. I think we all have the right to stand up for our families, and we all should. So that's where I come from.
Mandhira, you know, while you are saying, and you've said it so many times now, that it's about your father's legacy, there's also the legality of this, you know. Many would say that if it's not a wealth that's been created by the particular person who has passed away or who is in question, then you know, the legality of the heir taking ownership of that or partaking in that has a very different legal prism to it. It doesn't necessarily have to have the legal heir partake of it because it is generational wealth or, you know, passed on to. So there are different angles to it, but not getting into the legality, because that's something that the court has to decide. What do you mean by legacy, and why I'm asking you this question?
Okay.
It's very important. In public jargon, whenever you talk about the Sunjay Kapur inheritance case, you talk about mansions that are abroad and in India. You talk about the exquisite paintings that are all over. You talk about high-end, ultra-luxury watches and cars. And so, you know, that's the kind of a language and wordings that are often used to describe this inheritance war. We, the media, have done that, saying it as it is. So it's kind of important when you talk about legacy. What do you mean when you say legacy?
So let me explain this to you. Firstly, Sona has come from my father's side of the family, who were jewelers for over a century, and dad always believed in loyalty. And your jeweler back in the day was the most loyal person to you, right? So that's why the word Sona. So we moved to Delhi for him to open Sona for his family, for all the brothers. You know, which is why we moved to Delhi, which was very hard. My dad was a very humble, simple man because he worked night and day. He wasn't the one with the watches. He wasn't the one he drove in a Camry while my mom, you know, made mom drive in a Mercedes. He was a very simple, humble man. The way the world sees it is very different. And this is where, you know, I read some of the comments which are talking about, oh, wealthy families, this, that. But no one realizes my father made the wealth. And when you talk about the person who's made the wealth further, let me tell you two things. There's a story which is going on, which has no base to it, which again, the truth will come out. Secondly, Sona is why we are where we are. Tomorrow, we're leading a legacy for a family. It's not about who makes it. Tomorrow, I might go sit at Sona and, you know, create whatever. It's not that it means it goes only to my kids. It's for the family. That's how my father was. He was a very, he was someone who would look after a family, and I think that's where we come from. It's not for us, it's not personal, it's a legacy for the family. I'm not going to be like, oh, we're going to only this family is getting it or this. It's, I think we were brought up very differently, and it's not like, you know, dad worked very hard to get where he is. He went through his downfalls and he stood up again. And it's not like we've always had this life. We've been through our hardships watching our parents, and we've had to curb our ways and all of that. So it's not what the world thinks we are. We're not that. So I just want to specify there's a difference in what the world sees and what the reality is.
Mandhira Kapur, I can just thank you for
Thank
taking the
you.
time out and speaking to us. I think you've just brought in a very real human side of what is being seen as, you know, the Sunjay Kapur inheritance war.
Yeah.
We wish you well. We wish the family well. We just wish that all of you kind of settle down, come to terms, justice finds its
Thank
way.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's time for a very short break. On the other side, we decode the Great Nicobar Project.